Hey guys, it's me, just me today, here for the Secret Behind the Step live Q&A. Hello everybody. Excuse my dog, it's too cold to put him on the porch. So you might hear y'all might hear a little bit of barking. But just ignore it. So as I stated on my blast on Instagram and on Facebook, today's live Q&A is in reference to building relationships with your stepchildren, and that's actually because of the questions that I got from the last blog that I posted. So if you didn't check that out, go check that out. But there was a couple of questions that I got from that blog in regards to building a healthy relationship with your stepchildren, and also the absent parent. Now, a lot of people ask, what was the absent parent about? And it's just coping with or dealing with a child who has a mother or father that's not involved. So you then step up to being, that role model in their life. So we're just going to get into that. So, hey everybody. As y'all see, I got this braid because y'all kept saying I was playing in my hair last time y'all was here. So, so we got this braid thing going on, so there ain't gonna be no playing in here. So, all right, I'm gonna get started. I pulled, first off, it's snowing, so y'all should all be in the house, and y'all should all be tuned into this live Q&A. Y'all all snowed in. I was praying. I was like, God, please let it snow. Please let it snow so they can't go nowhere. So blame the snowstorm on me. So I pulled 5 to 6 questions from my email, and questions that I got, DMs and things like that, to, go over. I kind of reworded the questions a little bit just so I can make them a little more plain, so we can all understand what's going on. So if you hear your question and I reworded it, yeah, I did it. So, all right, I'm just going to get started with the first question. The first question was in reference to building a relationship with your stepchildren. And the question is, sorry for looking down, guys, but I got it written on my little pad, as y'all know. Do you think it's wrong that I don't include my stepchildren in all of the activities that I do with my daughter? So, guessing the daughter is the biological child. And the question is it wrong that she doesn't include her stepchildren in every activity that she does with her biological child? And as you guys know, please comment below. I mean, if you have something to say, whatever question that I'm asking, if you have some input on that question, please comment below. And so we can all help each other. I'm not the end all be all. Trust me, I have my own questions. I've written one of my own questions here, so I hope you guys comment. Okay, so I see a comment that says, does the child live with her? I don't know. The question, this question was an email that I received, so I don't know if the person is on this live. I mean, feel free to, elaborate if you shall. So, I don't think that it's wrong to not include your stepchildren in every activity that you do with your biological children. Now, the reason why I say that is because, if you guys read the last blog, what I do is I try to spend individual time with my stepchildren as well as my biological child. So, it's not wrong that me and my stepdaughter have our own time separate apart from me and my biological son. And me and my biological son, or me and my stepson, we do things separately. Like there's one-on-one time that I spend with them, and I try to plan it that way so I can have one-on-one time with them. So I don't think that every activity has to involve all of the children. There's things that I do with my daughter that I don't do with my son. Or there's things that I will do with my older stepson to, build relationships, to build communication. Some things that I may want to talk to him about, or some things that I may want to do that I don't bring along my biological son or my stepdaughter. So if it's in that aspect, if you're, trying to build relationships, or if you are trying to, I don't know. A lot of people say that their stepchild, sometimes they like for their biological child to feel that you're still my biological child, I guess, so they won't feel slighted if the kids live with you or things like that. And I found myself, I wrote this on another blog, I found myself feeling that way once, and I asked my son something, and I was like, well, me and you are going to do this, and just to try to get a feel if he felt as if he was being slighted in any way, because he is my only biological child. So I mean, I think we all go through that phase, or we all may go through feeling like, oh well, we don't want our child to feel slighted. I mean, and these are just, I'm just talking real, like these are real things that even I go through all the time, questioning myself, making sure that I'm doing the right thing, making sure that I am being the mom that I need to be to each of them individually. So I've questioned myself with my son, thinking that maybe I need to do more things with him. Maybe I need to, pay more attention to him. Maybe it just should be me and him doing this. And one time I asked him, and he was like, kind of like, well, where is my brother and sister going to be? Like, I'm tripping. Like, it's not, he wasn't, I think sometimes we overthink these things and they're not even thinking about it that way. I did see some comments, so I'm going to go back, but my answer is I don't think that it's wrong to not include your stepchildren in every activity. However, I wouldn't exclude them. I think it's a difference between including them in every activity and excluding them. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. I wouldn't exclude them intentionally, just to, I'm just doing this and y'all just can't come, because that can be bad. That could crush the relationship if you're trying to build a relationship with your stepchildren. But if you explain to them, this is what's happening, I'm doing this. And then I think that it'll be healthy if you do the same with them, so they won't feel like, you're just doing it with your biological child. Do the same with them. If you feel like, if it's like a girl-boy thing, do something with just you and the girl, or do something with just you and the boys. And that way they won't feel slighted. Okay, so I'm going to go back to see what everybody else was saying. Just give me one moment. So Dawn said no, because it doesn't always work out like that. I'm not sure what part you were talking about. So could you, oh, well then she said she agreed. So there it is. So there's another question on here from Crystal. It says, is it a good idea to invite the stepmother along with the kids' new half siblings to an event? I don't see anything wrong with inviting the stepmother. It depends on what event it is or what's going on, or and are you the stepmother? Are you inviting a stepmother? Like, I'm not sure with the kid's new half sibling to an event. I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that is totally okay. I invite my kids, are kids to me. So if I'm throwing a birthday party and my stepson's siblings are coming, they're invited. I'm not going to throw a birthday party and say, oh, well, your other sister or brother on your mother's side can't attend your party. No. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with that to me. If their mother going to come along because they're young, then so be it. If you guys have a good relationship, if you guys don't have any problems, there's not going to be any drama, it's not going to take away from the event or the party or whatever it may be, then I don't see why you won't invite them. But you can give me more info if that's not what the situation is. LaQuanda said that ain't right. I don't know what she talking about, depending on how new it is. Quanda, tell me what you mean. Me asking her stepmother just to hang out on an outing. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'm not sure if you saw my last blog, but I did a blog. My last Q&A, but I did a Q&A with my stepson's biological mother, and we talked about building our own relationship outside of our son, and which worked out to be a great thing because everything wasn't just based on him. And at first I talked about, I didn't think that was a good idea. I thought that you know, the only reason that we needed to communicate, or the only reason why we ever needed to talk, was because of the son. And as long as we were mutual and, you know, didn't do anything to disrespect that relationship with him, then everything, it was cool. That's not a bad idea. Everybody is not going to be able to build a friendship, or, you know, I don't want to put unrealistic expectations. I don't think everybody's going to be friends with their kid's stepmom or biological mom or whatever, the baby mom, whatever the case may be. But if you are mature enough to do that, I say by all means, yeah, I think that that's a great idea. I think it's a great idea to invite the stepmom, and you're the biological mom. If you're inviting the stepmom out to get to know that person, to see how they interact with your children, I think that that's a good idea. Oh yeah, she's talking about if the stepmom was being petty and not inviting the stepkids. That's not right. I agree. Okay, so I'm going to move on to okay, I'm sorry, I was reading a question. So she says she declined the offer, not sure how to change the vibe. I've talked about this before too. Just because, I mean, she declined, that's not your problem. So just because she declined, or, you know, she's not for it right now, you may have to give her some time. Everybody is not going to be at the same spot at the same time. She may not be there yet. She may not be willing to, you know, accept, or she may not even have the mindset to want to build a kind of relationship with you. And you never know what's going on her end as well. So you've extended the olive branch, she's denied it. I mean, I would just move forward, still be yourself, and then when a time presents itself or the opportunity presents itself, then try again, if you're willing to, you know. So all right, I'm going to if you guys have any more questions or comment, I'm just going to keep looking to make sure I'm not skipping anything. But I'm going to move on to the next question, which is, how do you build a relationship with your stepchild if the mother is against it? Okay, so how do you build a relationship with your stepchild if the mother is against it? Well, what I would say is it will probably make the situation a little bit harder for you to build a relationship, but I don't think that at that point it just can't happen. I would just communicate with the child. When the child is with you, do what it is that you would do as a step parent, or do what it is that you would do to try to build a relationship with that child, and allow the child to see that your intent is not negative or bad, or whatever it is that the biological parent could be putting in the child's head to make them think that they're against it. Or, you know, I would say just take it one day at a time. Whenever the child is around you, try to be a positive, you know, influence around the child. Try to be a positive role model around the child, and then build your relationship based on that. And that's it. And then, I mean, I got another question like this. I just combined them all together. But it's like everybody asks, you know, if the mother is against it, or if the mother feels this kind of way, you know, how do you do this? How do you do? But how does your spouse feel? Like, because that's the person that you're there to assist, and you're there to help. And this is the reason why you're in these children's lives anyway. So how does your spouse feel? If you and your spouse is on the same page in your household, and you're building a relationship, then I would just say, you know, build that relationship based on that. I wouldn't even really worry about if the child is acting out because of what the mom is doing, then that's one thing. But if you just feel like the mom is against you building a relationship with her child, then you're not really building that relationship for that mother. I said this before in another, either it was a blog or a live Q&A. She probably doesn't even want you there. She didn't choose for you to be in her child's life. So she's probably not going to be jumping for joy because you are trying to build a relationship with her child. So you have to make sure you and your mate are in agreement, and then go from there. And then just make sure you're positive. Don't react on the biological mom not wanting you to be involved in their child's life, because sometimes you hear people say, oh, well, she don't want me to be in her child life, then I ain't got to deal with her child anyway. Well, she's not the reason that you're in her child's life. So I would just think about that as well. But if the mom is against it, try to talk to her. I mean, I don't know if it seems like everybody is like, trying to think of the right word, not for communicating with the mother. So I would try to communicate with the mother. If the mother isn't willing to communicate, then I would just, you can't change who you are based on somebody else's perception of the situation of or of you. So continue to be yourself. Build a relationship based on you helping out your spouse, your mate, whoever the person is. That's the reason why you're in a child's life anyway. So if you guys have any comments or questions about that, or dealing with the same situation and want to comment, please comment below. If not, I'm going to scan through to see if I see any comments. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next question, which is, how do you deal with taking full responsibility for someone else's child? Okay, so I guess this question is more geared towards like the absent parent type. I meant the absent parent topic. So, that's a hard question, I think. How do you deal with taking full responsibility for someone else's child? What I will say is taking full responsibility for someone else's child is not an easy thing, because there's a lot that come with it, and I'm just gonna be real. Like, it's a lot that come with it. It's not all good times or all happy times or anything like that. Taking full responsibility for someone else's child means that you sometimes have to deal with the backlash of that parent not being there. And that is not an easy thing to deal with, because you have to watch your reaction to their actions, because it really doesn't have anything to do with you. So their actions may be as if they're pushing you away because they want their biological parent to be there. And sometimes they don't understand why is it that you're there and their biological parent is not. So it just comes with a lot of patience and having a lot of strength, and, you know, just letting them know that I'm not here to take anyone's place. Because sometimes that may be the issue as well. Dealing with taking full responsibility for someone else's child, I would say you really have to build a relationship with that child. Like, you really have to have grounds on why you're there, who you're there to help. Your spouse, you and your spouse, or you and your mate have to be in total agreement if you're taking full responsibility for someone else's child. Because it's one thing to be in somebody's life and then, you know, they're there for a weekend and then you pack them up and send them home all week, or you're just dealing with them for like a certain period of time. But when you're fully responsible for this child, like you are the end all be all, but this is not your biological child, then it comes with a lot of ups and downs. Just to be real, it comes with a lot of ups and downs. When I first had like full responsibility of my stepchild, it was like a court battle. It was constantly going back and forth, you know, and you have to really, I would say the biggest thing is having a good and clear, you know, having a good and a clear, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but with your spouse, like you two being on the same page of exactly what your role is in that child's life. Because once you do that, it becomes easier to build a pure relationship with that child and for you to take responsibility for that child. Because then it wouldn't be any ifs, ands, or buts, and nobody will be able to dictate who you are in that child's life. But just to answer that question as well, like on a level, like me and my husband, we once like bumped heads about taking full responsibility of the child. Because I'm not sure if, I wish he was here, he's not, but I'm not sure if he felt in the beginning that he didn't know how to allow me to have full responsibility. And it wasn't until, you know, we had to communicate and come up with an agreement, or come up with, okay, this is what it is. This is what's going on. This is how our household is being ran. her mother isn't here, I'm here. So exactly what role would you like for me to play in your child's life? And then be consistent with that role. Like, you can't just, oh, one day you want me to do this, and then the next day, oh, you can't do that. Like, you have to be clear on the role that you play, and in that way it causes less drama. You guys won't bump heads, and then it's clearer for the kid to understand exactly what's going on and who you are and what role you play in their life. So that's what I would say about that. It's a lot of things that I could say about that. I don't want to like run on about it, but I would say clear communication with your spouse, and make sure you build a relationship with the stepchild. Like, try to build a trust relationship, because they're going to push your buttons and you can't always react, you know, to their actions. The next question that I have is, how do I let go of a 7-year... Oh, I remember this question. This question, it had a lot. I think I'm going to... Okay, I'm going to read this question, but I'm going to give you guys the background of the email that I got about this question, because the question is... Sorry. The question is, how do I let go of a 7-year relationship? Sorry, guys. Hold on. How do I let go of a 7-year relationship? I don't know why my fax machine just keeps ringing and I'm pushing the end button. Okay, how do I let go of a 7-year relationship with my stepdaughter? Me and my husband split about 4 months ago, and I don't know how to cope with letting go of a relationship that I built with her. There was a lot of I'm going to read on from the email that this person sent, because she kind of like explains she was the like the child's mother. Her stepdaughter's mother wasn't in her life, so she built a relationship with this child for the last 7 years as being fully responsible for this child. So her and her husband split now, and she's dealing with, she said the child has now moved out with the husband, well, with the ex-husband, I'm sorry, and now she's dealing with coping, how she doesn't know how to go about letting go of that relationship. She also stated in the email that the husband said that he would never deny her being able to see the child or participate in, you know, activities in the child life, but she doesn't know how to let go being fully responsible for the child. In the email, she also did say she entered the child life when she was 3. So this is where I'm not sure if anybody else that's watching this live had dealt with anything like this. I've never dealt with having to let go of a relationship. I don't know what I would do if me and my husband was to split, you know, God forbid. Me and my husband was to split and I had to let go of the relationship that I built with my stepchildren. And she's saying that the husband said that, you know, he would never deny her anything, but it's really like taking someone out of her life, and the character that she's played with this child, you know, even though she's still able to see this child, but she's not playing the same role with this child. So, I mean, if anybody has any, I thought that this would be good for conversation, because I don't even know how I would really deal with that situation. I feel like you wouldn't know how to react to that situation unless you've been through that situation or you've been in that situation before. Letting go of a 7-year relationship, I know it has to be tough. Like I said, I don't know what I would do unless I went through something like that. But what I will say, and this is why I wanted to bring this question up as well. Oh, I'm sorry guys, my thing just cut off. But this is why I wanted to bring this question up as well, because I remember years ago, me and my husband, we got in this big argument, and we were like, you know what, we're leaving, we're going our separate ways, blah 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 blah, whatever. Everybody goes through arguments, that's what happened. So we were like, you know, we're leaving, and I was saying that I was leaving, but I wasn't, like, at that point I did not know if I should take my stepchild. Like, it was like so confusing, because I didn't know, at that point, do you take the child with you? And then, you know, things, just to be real, things like, you know, play with you in your mind, because then it's like, okay, do I pack her up? Do I take her? And then he's leaving and he's out just doing what he want to do. And I'm just sitting here with these kids, you know, still taking care of everything and doing everything. So, and I think we all go through things like that, like as being a step parent or being in our step kid's life. Sometimes you don't know. And it wasn't until something like that happened with me and my husband that we were all able to talk about it after we got over everything, after everything got settled and we made up or whatever. That what would we do in that instance? And I did feel like, as me building a certain relationship, I would not leave my stepchild. I wouldn't. But before us communicating about that, I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh, she probably going to stay right there, or he probably going to stay right there, and I'm leaving. Come on, Christian, pack your bag. But but I mean, you never know what that would lead, because I can see in my stepchild that it was a lot of confusion. Like they wouldn't know what to do in that instance, So I would say, like in that regard, you really should, present that situation if you are like fully responsible for a child, or if you build a certain relationship with the child. My dog. If you build a certain relationship with the child, of how you guys would handle that prior to it happening, and then letting the kids see how it all would play out. So that's what I'm saying about that. If you guys have any, yes, Dawn commented, that's hard because boundaries now change, and that's absolutely correct. You still have to respect boundaries. I was even watching on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Judge your mom, but sorry, but I was watching on the Real Housewives of Atlanta when who was it? Cynthia and Peter split, and the child was, she felt in the middle because she built a relationship with this guy, and now they're splitting, and he was saying he didn't come around because he had to respect her mother's boundaries. I mean, and that can put you in a weird place, because that's really not your biological child, and you really don't have, as much say so, or as much, unless you guys have a court order or something like that, then that's something different. But if you don't, then if you guys split, then I'm sorry, my phone keeps ringing. If you guys split, then that child is going with their biological parent 9 times out of 10. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next question. I'm looking through to see if there's any more questions on here. All right, so the next question is, how do you build a strong relationship? It was, how do I build a strong relationship with my stepchildren without making their biological mom feel uncomfortable? Hold on, guys, 1 second. So sorry, guys. Somebody was banging on my door. Okay, and I'm home alone. Well, I was. All right, so the last question was, how do I build a strong relationship with my stepchildren without making their biological mom feel uncomfortable? I think that this goes back a little bit to what I said up on the first question with trying to figure out how your spouse feel about the relationship that you're building with the child. Because, can I help you?
You said...
All right, go in there for just a moment, please. Can I finish? Go, Toya. Go. I'm so sorry.
Not even.
You want to join me? All right, give me a minute. She's been asking to join me on a live. I told her next week, so. If you want to join me, give me a minute. Pull up a chair. Okay. All right, so. My daughter will be joining me in a few once she get rid of her attitude, because now she's mad. So, and my son. Okay, go. Please, yes.
Use my nail polish.
Yeah, okay. So, guys, please go. All right, go ahead in there for a minute, please.
Kids always want to come in.
Yes. This is what every day. I'm so sorry, y'all, but they're just coming back from boxing practice, and they walked in the middle of this, even though I weren't their dad to tell them that I'm going to be in the middle of a live, so they should come in and be quiet. So, y'all gotta deal with my kids for the rest of this live because they're really not leaving. So, can I please just answer this last question?
Wait, can I say?
Okay, so how Christian, please, just one more question I need to answer. I'll let y'all join me, okay?
Okay.
Okay, please. Okay, thank you. Can y'all go in the living room? Okay, yeah, in 1 second. Okay. All right, so, Jesus, the last question is, how do you build a strong relationship with your stepkids without making their biological mom feel uncomfortable? I think I started to answer. I'm sorry, guys, I already get my thoughts together. Put the dustpan down. Sorry. Building a strong relationship with your kids without making their biological mom feel uncomfortable. As I stated, speaking to your spouse about it, seeing exactly what role they want you to play in your child's life, and also if you can communicate with the biological mom, just let them know that, they know that you're probably in their child's life, but just, make it clear that you're not trying to overstep any boundaries, but you don't want their child to feel slighted. That's one of the conversations that I had to have with my children's biological mom, because it was like I wanted to be involved in their life. I did not want them to feel slighted at any time, so I wanted to make sure that I was really...
Your son is acting stupid.
Watch your mouth.
Look what he just did.
Just leave it. I'll get it. Just leave it. I'll get it. Go in the living room, Christian.
I thought that was the last question.
So, I wish that this live, I could rewind and edit all of this stuff out and start it over. So yeah, speaking to the mom, allowing them to know, because it's a thin line between not trying to cross boundaries to make the child's parent feel uncomfortable and making the child feel uncomfortable. Can y'all please turn that down? Please turn it off. And making the child feel uncomfortable. I'm sorry, guys. If you have any questions, you could comment below. Or if you have any comments or anything about any of the questions that I went over today, I'm going to read them all. I'm going to let my stepdaughter join me. She's been bugging me to be on a FaceTime live, so I'm going to let her join me. Maybe she could give us some type of insight on how she feels about certain things, because God knows she talks too much. And I'm going to read all of the questions, so just in case you guys have any input or anything that you guys may want to talk about or communicate about, talk about, or give a comment about, I'm going to go over them. So the first question was, do you think it's wrong that I don't include my stepchild in all the activities with me and my biological child? The next question was, how do you build a relationship with your stepchild if their mother is against it, if their biological mother is against it? The next question was, how do you deal with taking full responsibility for someone else's child? The fourth question was, how do you let go of a 7-year relationship that you have with your stepchild because you and your husband split? And the last question was, how do you build a strong relationship with your stepchild without making their biological mother feel uncomfortable? All right, so are you ready? All right, let's go. Can you take your coat off, please? Oh, you're coming too?
But he's not a stepchild.
He's not a stepchild. Maybe he could give us, push the dog off. Maybe, you're right. Come on. Let's, come on, you can come first. She's going to run this thing. Yes, come on. You pulling up a chair?
No.
Okay. All right, guys. So you're in for a treat.
I did that.
Okay. Come, look at you. You gotta move up. No, not that far up. Move back.
I'm trying to
and
read.
Stop chewing the gum like that. All right. So everybody, this is Latoya.
It's only 9 people on there.
It's all right.
But it's only...
Okay, so this is Latoya, and she wants to be a part of this Facebook Live. So if you guys have any questions for Latoya, feel free to comment these questions right here so she can see what questions you guys may have for her. We could have set this up so people could ask questions in reference to how a stepchild may feel about certain things. You know?
What are you talking about?
I was talking about building a relationship with your stepchild.
No,
I'm
I
happy because
don't.
you look like Grandma Shawanda.
No, I don't.
All right, so how do you feel about being a stepchild? So if you're going to be on here, you have to talk. Like, you can't just say you don't know. You want to be, what you wanted to talk about? What do you want to talk about since you wanted to be on here so bad? Go ahead. What do you want to talk about?
Food.
Food?
Yes.
This is not about food.
Oh. So what is it?
It's about the secret behind the step. It's about my blog. Me being a stepmom, you being a stepchild.
I didn't get no beatings, so I don't get beatings.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
So many beatings did you get?
She meant to put how many beatings did you get.
Oh.
She knocked the thing there.
How many beatings did you get?
So if anybody... Do you love your stepmom a lot? You're out the camera.
I know.
Are you going to talk? If not, you're going to go in there.
No.
No what?
No.
Oh, you don't love me a lot?
I never said that.
Oh, okay. So what are you saying? Do you love your stepmom a lot?
Probably.
Okay. Latoya is being weird. Come on, are you going to talk?
Good job.
All right, well, I'm about to end
I don't even get beatings.
Is there anything you want to say before we end this?
Wait. Can you flip the camera around?
Why?
Wait, I want to...
No, it's not going to...
Something else.
She calls me stepmom.
Bro,
She doesn't call me mom. She calls me stepmom.
Deal.
Do you feel comfortable with that?
You was there.
She said you did it. She's telling you.
Squash me. Hello.
All right, so we're going to end this thing.
No.
Well, then what do you want to talk about? Come on. I'm done.
Oh, you are.
Here.
Don't pull the natural.
This is the relationship that we have. It's crazy. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down.
I did this.
Latoya did my hair, everybody. She put this braid in my hair, and
I
she
do it
wants
all
her
the
credit.
time.
She does it most of the time, not all the time. Shawana said she love your hair.
Who's that?
Shawana.
Hi, Aunt Sharon.
All right, so we're going to end this thing.
No, you're not. She's...
We're going to end this thing. Next time, we can have Latoya on here as a guest, and you guys can send questions in reference
Great
to
job, Toya.
asking her questions,
Go,
you know, about
Toya.
how she feel about certain things, and then I can prep her. Your hair. And then she could be prepped on the questions that she's going to be asked.
I don't know who that is.
Kamaya's mom.
I don't know who Kamaya is.
From church. Kamaya's mom. Little Kamaya.
Who is that? The little girl that used to play with Haley?
Yeah, I mean, she did play with Haley. She used to play with you, too.
I don't know.
Okay, so bye, guys. We will see you on the next live Q&A, and then Latoya will be our special guest.
It's not Latoya.
For the whole Facebook Live. I'm glad you guys get to see a glimpse of what I go through on a daily basis with them. So, bye, guys. If you have any questions, always feel free to email me at thesecretbehindthestep.com or go to the website. Please stop. Go to the website, and you guys can send me an email or send me a comment directly there.
I'm coming back.
You also can you can also go to the Secret Behind the Step, and you can also go to the Secret Behind the Step and watch all of my latest or previous live Q&A videos and check out all of the blogs. There'll be a new blog next Tuesday, and that blog will be more about the absent parent. That's the next blog title. So bye, guys.
No, don't press finish.
It's finished.
Peace, cuz. Nice vlog. See you soon. See? No. Look. It says C.
All right.
The C, the letter C. And then it says the letter U. And then it says soon.
Okay, can you push the finish
So it's
button?
see you soon.
All right, please. Thank you.
Right. Wait, no. I want to do it.
The finish button. Finish.
I know. Adios.
Don't ever talk to me.
She is like.